So it was, until the day that a false sun exploded over Trinity, and man forever traded away wonder for reason.
HBO has been behind some of the greatest television series of all time, and part of their success is their willingness to take risks on different projects. From crime dramas like The Sopranos, to period pieces like Rome or Deadwood, and even fantasy epics like Game of Thrones. They have never been afraid to try new things when it comes to their original programming, and it's what's propelled them to the top of the TV market. However, without a doubt, the strangest show that they have ever attempted is Carnivàle. It's hard to describe what Carnivàle is even about. On the one hand, it's about a traveling carnival show set in Dust Bowl America during the 1930s. But on the other hand, it's about Gnostic mysticism, Templar conspiracies, and ultimately the battle between good and evil. Created by Daniel Knopf, the series ran for 2 seasons. The creator had big plans for the series to span 6 seasons and cover a lot of ground while slowly explaining the vast mythology that he had written. But ultimately the series was cancelled due to low ratings. Even among HBO fans, Carnivàle remains a very niche show. Like, my channel has pretty much become dedicated to critically acclaimed dramas at this point, and I've gotten maybe 4 comments asking about it. It's definitely a slept-on series, but it's also a very interesting show. It's basically Twin Peaks meets Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that alone makes it worthy of exploring in a retrospective. So let's take a look at Carnivàle, the weirdest show HBO has ever done.
Now, the people in these towns, they're asleep. We wake them up.
Like I said, the series follows a traveling carnival as they make their way around Dust Bowl America during the 1930s. The main character is Ben Hawkins, a mysterious boy who joins the carnival after his mother dies. It's revealed that Ben has the power to heal people, though this power comes at a great cost. Using his powers to bring back life causes death, and though he doesn't know why he has this ability, it was no accident that he was picked up by the carnival. The mysterious management has big plans for Ben, and reluctantly, he's caught up in a struggle going back to the beginning of time between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. The darkness is personified in Ben's opposite, Brother Justin Crowe, a Methodist priest. Justin is portrayed by the incredible Clancy Brown, most known for voicing Lex Luthor in a bunch of cartoons. Though unaware of his true nature at first, Justin uses his own powers of influence to build a massive religious following intent on bringing an age of darkness into the world. Both Justin and Ben are thus set on a course to destroy each other and learn how to master and control their destinies.
It is the last link in a chain of events unfolding even as we speak. You must break that chain.
How the hell am I supposed to do that?
By destroying the preacher you've seen in your dreams.
One of the things that I love about this series is the setting. Dust Bowl America isn't a common setting in fiction aside from Steinbeck, but the show really nails the aesthetic and the historical accuracy. I love how they're able to make the country look so bleak and creepy, while at the same time highlighting the camaraderie between the characters that allowed them to survive in such a depressing time. Speaking of the characters, there are a lot of great ones in the show. My favorite is Samson, the diminutive acting boss of the carnival for the mysterious never-seen management. Game of Thrones gets a lot of praise for being the first show to have a positive portrayal of a dwarf character, but Carnivàle predates that show and had a wonderfully complex character in Samson. Like all the other characters, he has his flaws, but he tries his best to balance the needs of his people with what he has to do to serve management's greater interests.
And I'll tell you something else that's true. When it comes to living, dying is the easy part.
However, while I'll praise some characters like Samson and Sophie, the vast majority of the other carnies are not nearly as developed. Pretty much all the story not devoted to Ben and Justin is instead devoted to the Dreyfus family and Jonesy. And while their story was interesting for a time, It was really frustrating that we never got to learn about the other members of the Carnivàle. Where was the storyline for the lizard guy or the conjoined twins? Hell, even the carnies that they do occasionally focus on, like Ruth or Lila, are underdeveloped. And even the main characters are hard to decipher at times. Take Justin. He's the central antagonist of the series, of course, and he's the avatar of darkness and evil. But he's also supposed to be a human character, just like Ben is a character, even though he's the avatar of light. But it's hard to understand Justin's character and motivation. Is he evil just because he represents darkness, or is it a matter of individual character choices? Instead of him being evil because of his character flaws, it just seems like he's possessed by the devil because he's darkness incarnate or something. It makes what could have been a really interesting foil to Ben instead a flat and relatively uninteresting villain.
Go to hell.
Go. Why? I plan on bringing it here.
And that is the big missed opportunity about the show for me. This could have been the Deadwood of Dust Bowl America, a show about strange but relatable characters in an interesting setting. There was a lot of potential for engaging stories about life in the Carnivàle, but instead the show focuses the majority of the narrative on the mythology behind Ben and Justin and their role as avatars.
Why didn't you tell us you were the Avatar?
Because I never wanted to be.
You cannot lie about your own nature. You must accept that you are the Avatar.
The mythology behind the series was extensive. Creator Daniel Knopf wrote this massive backstory for the characters and the magic, drawing inspiration from Gnostic and Hindu mysticism, rolled together with other kinds of occult weirdness. However, most of this backstory is never stated directly to the viewer. Instead, it's represented through these surreal visual sequences. Some of the mysteries of the series get directly answered, but a lot more of it is metaphorical and left open to the viewer's interpretation. However, here's where we get into the big problem of the series. The show was just way too esoteric. Like, the mythology of the series does add to the whole mysterious vibe of the show, but a lot of the surreal imagery is just indiscernible. Matt Roush of TV Guide called Carnivàle the perfect show for those who thought Twin Peaks was too accessible. And while I think that Carnivàle is actually more easily understandable than Twin Peaks, at least for me, I felt that a lot of the visual sequences don't actually mean anything. Even the writers of the show admit that they don't understand what's happening half the time either.
A lot of times we would sort of take the attitude of we don't even fully understand it. We're only seeing sort of a small piece of the puzzle. And then we would sort of rely on Dan to step in at certain points and say, no, I don't want to do this or that, or this doesn't quite fit.
Now, Knopf definitely had a vision for what he wanted to do with the show. After the series was cancelled, he released an outline of his plans for the series to fans online called the Pitch Document. He planned for 6 seasons. However, instead of each season being an individual story, 2 seasons together would make up a book. Again, just like The Last Airbender. The next book would have been about Ben and Justin traveling through Europe looking for magic talismans and dealing with the aftermath of their confrontation. And the final book would have been about World War II and the development of the nuclear bomb, something that had been hinted at since the beginning. The ending of the series would have been about Ben and Sophie reuniting and then intentionally walking into the bomb, ending the cycle of the avatars and removing magic from the world forever.
If you are killed in the Avatar's state, the reincarnation cycle will be broken, and the Avatar will cease to exist.
But again, while this sounds cool, Knopf was just way too ambitious. Instead of writing complete and satisfying seasons, he wrote stuff that will never pay off because he was looking too far ahead. He was so focused on creating this crazy, decade-spanning mystery plot that he neglected the important part of storytelling, which is the moment-to-moment character interactions. It's rare that a show makes it all the way to the end without getting cancelled, so it's important for showrunners to make the episodes that they do have as satisfying on their own as possible, as you never know when it might end. And given Carnivàle's extremely niche appeal, it was pretty much always destined for the chopping block.
That's about the dumbest thing I ever heard.
No, it ain't. The dumbest thing is dying when you ain't gotta.
It's hard for me to recommend Carnivàle. On the one hand, it's a deeply unsatisfying show, both because its ambitious storyline will never be finished, and because of the missed opportunities for real character-driven narrative. But at the same time, it's also a really fascinating show. It's the Twin Peaks of HBO, and if you like that style, you'll probably find a lot to love in Carnivàle. And for all my problems with the series, there was enough interesting material to make me want to do a retrospective on it immediately after I finished watching it. And that tells you something about the quality. Either way though, I hope you guys enjoyed this retrospective, and stay tuned for more content coming soon. Everything changed when the Methodists attacked. Matt Joyce, Uncle Mike, Sam Cedarland, Celery Man, Countess von Zarevich, Admiral, Neil Varma, and Juan Jaramillo.